This is Michael Wilson. We read in Deuteronomy 1, these are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan in the wilderness. So we're going to look at Deuteronomy 1 today. Let's do it. So in looking at the first chapter of Deuteronomy, it's the fifth book in the Old Testament, and Deuteronomy means second law, and so it contains Moses' final speeches to the Israelites before they enter the promised land. The chapter begins with Moses recalling how God commanded them to leave Mount Sinai and go to the land of the Amorites. God promised to give them the land that he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses also reminded them how he appointed leaders and judges to help him govern the people and to administer justice. He instructed them to be impartial and fair and to bring any difficult cases to him. So when the spies returned from looking at the land of Canaan, they reported that the people there were strong and their cities were well fortified. And so 10 of the spies discouraged the people from going in, saying they were too powerful for them. Only 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, urged the people to trust God and go in. But the people rebelled against Moses and God and refused to enter the land. They even wanted to go back to Egypt. Can you imagine? They'd been in slavery for over 40 years and they wanted to go back. But they were comfortable with slavery rather than the uncertainty of whether God would come through for them or not. So God was angry with their unbelief and swore that none of them, except Caleb and Joshua, would see the promised land. He also said that they would wander in the wilderness for 40 years until that generation died out. He also told them that their children would inherit the land instead of them. So the next day, some of the people regretted their decision and tried to go up in the hill country against God's command. Moses warned them not to because God was not with them, but they didn't listen and they went anyway. And they were attacked and defeated by the Amorites who lived there. So the chapter ends with Moses saying that they stayed in Kadesh for a long time, then turned back and traveled by the way of the Red Sea as God had instructed them. Flash forward, however, eventually Joshua and Caleb lead them into the promised land, and it was theirs and still is today. Now that's some mighty good news, brothers and sisters.